Thank you for joining today's session on empowering your diverse first-line workforce with inclusive technology. My name is Hector Minto. I'm a senior technology evangelist for accessibility here at Microsoft, and I'll be joined later in the session by my great colleague Jessica, who is from our training team, who's going to be really showing you some great demos to demonstrate the inclusivity we're building into our products here at Microsoft. Through the session, we're going to introduce what we mean by a first-line workforce, explore the topics of disability, literacy, and language as we think about the technological solutions that we're delivering to the first-line workforce, share a great customer story from Sodexo, and then get into the demo of how technology can really drive inclusion within your organizations. You couldn't have failed to notice the newfound respect for first-line workers in the news through the COVID crisis. Society has been kept running through the hard work, the dedication that first-line workers are really delivering. We really need to grab this momentum to explore how the recovery really leverages the talent, the expertise, and the experience of first-line workers. And we know here at Microsoft that technology is going to play an incredible role in that inclusive recovery. The tools that we deliver to our first-line workers, our frontline workers, are going to really need to be suited to the work that they do to enable this impactful recovery. First-line workers are the backbone of all industries, and their abilities, their skill sets, their job roles are diverse. People come from all sorts of backgrounds to keep our companies working and to deliver results at scale in our businesses. So as we think about the tools that people need to do the jobs, we recognize here at Microsoft that only 25% of first-line workers are actually accessing the tools and the technology they need to be able to do their roles. What we know through the COVID crisis is that when people in the first line with those skills are given the tools to the job, they innovate and they deliver. And I don't think you can really underestimate the talent and the innovation and the ideas that can come from your first line workers when we deliberately reach out to engage. When you think about your first line workers, remember that many of first line workers are working shift. Round the clock, these are the people who keep the lights on within the businesses that you run. They're also, when they at the work they're doing in the front line, they are your early adopters, your early warning signs, the people who are really getting the fresh information from the field. So any business that's not got a hotline straight through to its first line workers and getting a regular heartbeat from what's happening at the front line is missing critical information. And that critical information is not just critical to the operations, but it's critical to your brand and your reputation. What's happening at the front line is what the public see, and the public will be the judges of the reputation of any business out there. When we look at the first line workforce, I also think it's really critical to understand those wider needs that are out there. When you think about where you've gone so far with technology in your businesses, we have a feeling that the needs are pretty similar. We know within the accessibility world that that's not true, but even more so when you reach out and deliver tech to the first line workforce at scale, there are some new things that you need to be considering. Hidden disability is out there. People have dyslexia, chronic health conditions, hearing loss, is especially when we think about the aging workforce, it's out there. So as we deliver technology at scale, you need to be really switched on to that need out there. Literacy is also really important. There's an assumption in office workers or admin roles that people have, strong literacy skills. But as we reach out at scale to the wider populace within our organizations, you need to be switched on to the varying literacy requirements out there. And of course, language. We live in a diverse, multi-language world, especially as we think about the multinational companies that we engage with. So think about, the first language of the business is important, but as you reach out to your first line workforce, you're not going to see such buy-in to the first language of the business. There will be many, many more non-native speakers out there working within your industries. I also think it's worth just quickly stopping to think about diversity and inclusion. That diversity that I'm talking to you about within your first line workforce is a strength. We know that the organizations that deliberately build D&I into their organizations, they're delivering 56% increase in job performance, 50% drop in turnover risk, and a 75% reduction in sick days. All the math is in. We know that diversity drives results. As you reach out again deliberately to your first-line workforce, don't see this as a burden, as an obligation. See this as a way to connect really meaningfully with your first-line workforce and the diversity and inclusion they bring, but also think of your role as technologists and the impact you can have on the culture of your organizations moving forward. This is not a topic that just needs to sit in HR and D&I. Technologists deliver D&I to your businesses. Without the right tools to do the jobs, what we're obviously going to see is that people spend more time with people with hidden disabilities, with different literacy needs, or with different languages, really over-explaining the work and spending too much time hand-holding people out there in the workforce. This is a hidden tax on time. This leads to lower productivity, but even worse, it might lead to people skipping information, skipping critical health and safety information, getting across the training, the critical training to the workforce is not optional, but sometimes it's overlooked if the barriers are too high. We really think that technology is going to have to play a role in this. This can also lead to a strained work-life balance, information gaps, and maybe worse than anything, it leads to a them and us mentality within businesses. The idea that the first-line workforce have one experience and the office workers get another. So without the right tools, we have challenges there. Technology can obviously deliver these solutions. I often joke in my world that I'm an expert in assistive technology. I'd love to know what non-assistive technology is, right? Technology is designed to deliver results, more time, increased safety, improved work-life balances. If we get the tech right that we're delivering to the first line, we really can drive some amazing results. And think of these results as being delivered at scale. These are large audiences out there. So when we go at it deliberately, we go with inclusion in mind, we will really drive amazing results for our businesses and our industries. So there's a real opportunity to optimize your first-line impact with Microsoft 365. Connect your workforce seamlessly. Make sure that the information flows from your frontline back to your offices in an accessible way, people finding their own way to connect within your organizations. Take manual processes, and as we digitize them, make sure we're thinking about how to do that inclusively so that the information that you're looking for from your first-line workers is getting to you in an accurate way, allowing people to work in the way that they want to. When we think about the onboarding of staff, the critical moment when you bring people into your organizations, making sure that they have access to the information in formats and in ways that they understand readily and can get to work quicker. When we think about the devices that people are using, making sure that they understand the personalization of those devices and they find, and we invest in the signposting to the way that people can find to work the way that they want to work. One such organization we've been exploring this with is Sodexo, a global service business with over 500,000 employees. And what they're looking at is how they can partner with Microsoft, with M365, to ensure that their workforce find the tools that they need to do the work on their own terms. Take a look.
Sodexo and Microsoft, both organisations are super passionate about inclusion, and in particular about the inclusion of people with disabilities. So I think that gives us an absolutely fantastic platform to work from in terms of our disability inclusion efforts.
Alors Sodexo est très engagé sur le handicap depuis bien plus de 10 ans et depuis on a un taux d'emploi qui augmente chaque année et on en est assez fiers. On est à la limite des 6%, on va bientôt les atteindre.
J'ai des horaires effectivement aménagés et on a également aménagé les outils de travail pour que les choses soient plus fluides et plus faciles pour moi au quotidien. En fait, on travaille beaucoup sur informatique, donc via la tablette. Pour passer les appels et envoyer les messages, je passe par Teams et j'envoie parfois quelques mails également.
The events that I do, I think, is really important. We ask them to go through the accessibility checker because we help to facilitate Microsoft in reaching out to a wider audience, and the audience can consist of many people. It could be a language barrier, it could be hearing, it could be seeing, it could be anything. We have a duty really, put measures in place for them also to be included. For instance, we had an event where there was someone that was both deaf and blind, and rather than them have to rely on someone else, I created a Braille menu myself. So this particular person had their own menu. Sodexo, Microsoft together are working on new innovations and new ways of bridging the gap, so to speak. One of the innovations that I brought forward was to have a Braille printer on site, so they are listening. That's the thing, and that's the fact that they're listening makes me feel empowered.
On a un certain nombre d'outils, comme le sous-titrage automatisé qui va permettre à des personnes malentendantes de pouvoir échanger davantage. On a des sujets comme la dictée vocale, donc un certain nombre de technologies comme ça qui vont permettre en fait de rendre des services à des personnes en situation de handicap et leur permettre de travailler.
I mean, when Sodexo go to pitch for business, and they're able to say that their employees are able to independently read text through their phones, translate into their first language, magnify tools so that, for people with low vision. When you're delivering first-line workers with digital skills, that's a really attractive offer when you're actually pitching your services. I think we've got some great opportunity to, to really help each other.
Notre mission, c'est donner à tous, à toutes les personnes et toutes les organisations, les moyens de réaliser leurs ambitions.
Some of the work that's happened with our frontline workers, helping them to understand the Microsoft tools that are available, have really helped with their digital accessibility and really helped them to build their digital skills. So I think, the future hopefully holds much more of that, which is where I think we could have a really big social impact.
So disability within the first-line workforce is something you need to be aware of. Over 1 billion people on the planet have some form of disability. And when we look at the first-line workforce, these are people who have disabilities at scale, low vision, different hearing loss, dyslexia, moderate learning disabilities. That disability is often invisible within your organizations. So we cannot rely on people to be assessed for disability at scale. We've just got to make sure that people routinely find the tools they need to do their jobs. We know that within society, people find their own ways to use technology. We've got to make sure that that lived experience of the different ways of accessing tech finds its way into the workforce. And that's why I'm delighted to be joined here by Jessica today, who's going to share some real lived experience of finding your own way to work.
Thank you so much, Hector. My name is Jessica Chernitz, and like Hector mentioned, I am a first-line worker. I work in retail for Microsoft, and finding a way that works for me, because I am that first-line worker that has invisible disabilities. So the capability and the flexibility that I have with using my own device and having the technology available to me that just works for me is honestly game-changing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of some of the things that I use. So as you can see, I'm going to show you some of the features and functions that I use as a first-line worker on my personal device. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I would clock into work. So I'm going to click on Teams. I'm going to press my 3 dots, and I'm going to head over to Shifts. As I'm in Shifts, this is where I have the capability of seeing my upcoming schedule, requesting time off, see what open shifts are available, as well as clocking in. So we're going to clock in. Simply pressing and holding this play button, it will now start my shift. Excellent. So now, at this point, I would probably head over, open up my computer, read some emails, and also send some notes. There is something that is urgent that I need to tell one of my coworkers, so let's go ahead and do that. So now that I'm in the Teams browser, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send Megan a chat. As you can see, it notified me that I have not only a grammar error, but I also have a spelling error. So I'm going to right click on Megan's name, make sure that I capitalize it. And then I'm also going to click on this word and click on inventory because that's the word I actually was trying to send. Now that I told Megan in the chat that inventory is running late, I see that my boss, Christine, had actually sent me a message. So let's see what she has to say. This is a lot of information to look at once. So what I usually do is I'll take something like this and I'll actually put it directly into Immersive Reader. We can do this simply by clicking on our 3 dots and click right on Immersive Reader. This is where it gets really exciting. So Immersive Reader is by far one of my favorite products that I personally use in my day-to-day work. As you can see, there are a multitude of options that you can choose. The first thing I want you all to just take a look at is notice that the spacing, notice that the words are spread out, and it's just automatically a lot more appealing to the eye, and especially for someone who may have an invisible disability such as dyslexia, or maybe somebody who has English as a second language. This is a great tool to use, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the features. So we're going to head over right to where it's these 2 A's, where this is our text preference. I'm going to click on that. You have the capability of increasing or decreasing the text size to whatever is visually appealing to you. I always have my increased spacing turned on. This helps separate the words. So for someone like me who has a little bit harder of time due to dyslexia, having this extra spacing really can identify the letters. This is what it would be like if I had it turned off. For this, I'm going to keep it on. The other thing is your font. Many people don't realize that handwritten, script, and all those fun texts, although they may be really exciting, for someone who has an invisible disability or even a temporary disability, visually, they might have a hard time reading it. These fonts right here are approved for individuals with dyslexia, such as myself. I choose Calibri, but you also have other options as well. You also have themes. These themes can be used for a multitude of reasons. One, it could just be your preference. Make it a little fun. It could also be used for color blindness, as well as calm colors for individuals with special needs. For me, I like the dark theme. Once we decided the way that we like it to look, I'm going to head over to grammar. Now, I'm going to turn on syllables. It breaks up the words. Again, could be used on a multitude of used in a multitude of ways. If you're trying to sound a word out, if you're trying to learn a new word, it helps you break up that word. In addition, we can also turn on nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. You can also choose a different color based off of your background. And then lastly, with grammar, we can show the labels. Not only did it highlight the nouns, it also put the label on top to let us know that it is a noun. Again, just another added feature to help. So for me, I'm going to turn this off. And then here's my favorite part, reading assist. So individuals like myself, we have a hard time focusing on one line. Sometimes our eyes will jump around. Sometimes we might not be looking at a word. We might think there's another word. So with line focus, it actually has the capability of doing 1 or 3 or a full body, which is what you see here, focus. It will focus, once I turn line focus on, it will focus on where this dotted line is. Now, I can click on the word no, head over to my line focus, turn it on, and it will automatically highlight that sentence where I identified I want it to start. This is what 3 would look like. Now, the last piece I want to show you in this is Picture Dictionary. Picture Dictionary is a really cool feature for individuals, again, might be learning a new language, may not really understand what that word really means, or maybe you don't know if you're sounding that word out right, you can actually go ahead and I'm going to click on a word such as excited, and it will speak the word excited, as well as show you a picture. Now, down here, you have a play option. So somebody like me, I like to see something, I like to hear something. I want to have a multitude of ways of getting it in for me to memorize it, to really understand it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on my sound settings. This, I can increase or decrease my sound, as well as have both female and male preference. As soon as I have my dotted lines, again, I'm going to start on I. I'm going to go ahead and press my play button, and it will track as well as read aloud to me.
I know I've said this a million times, but truly, I'm so excited to have you on the team. We really needed a strong new teammate like you.
That's Immersive Reader. Now, I'm going to head out of Immersive Reader, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go, like I said to Megan, inventory was running late, so it's about time I go check on inventory. So I'm going to head over, but I want to still make sure that I am reading documents, that I'm catching up on everything. So I'm going to bring my mobile phone with me. While I'm waiting for inventory, I notice that I actually have a meeting with my boss. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to join this meeting. I also have the capability of turning on my video, as well as having my mute on as soon as I enter the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off. See you in a second. Now, before my meeting occurs, again, I'm the type of person where I want to not only hear, but I also want to see. I have this capability by turning on closed captions. As soon as I turn my closed captions on, not only will I be able to say something and see it, but I'll also be able to hear the person on the other line. Hey, Christine.
Lydia, so great to see you. I'm so glad again that you're on the team, and just wanted to take some time to talk you through any questions you have about the handbook.
Thank you so much. I'm still reviewing it. I think we should have a meeting tomorrow so where I can really dive deep into those conversations.
Sounds great.
Thank you. And that's it. A simple meeting. Not only can I hear it, but I also can see it. Now, I'm pretty much done with the end of my shift. So I want to make sure that I clock out. So I'm going to go ahead, go back to my phone, head over to shifts. We're going to go back to where our time clock was, and we're going to end our shift. As soon as we end our shift, I want to make sure that my boss knows what I did today. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let her know exactly what I did. Now, again, this is on a mobile device. So an individual like me with typing, with being able to see things, being able to really concentrate, I want to use the dictation that is enabled within Teams. We took in 3 pallets from inventory. We also helped 4 new customers. They were super excited to see the new Surface Duo. And like that, I'm going to go ahead and save, and my day is done. Back to you, Hector.
Thanks so much, Jessica. That's amazing. I love those captions in the phone call. I mean, you know, we now live in an age where, you know, live text in the moment is transcribed. And, you know, of course, that's useful for disability, but then also think about things like construction workers working on busy building sites, just having that added, you know, crutch of having the voice displayed on the screen. I think that's amazing. So the next thing we're going to talk about is literacy. And the only thing I have to say about this is that people quite often overestimate the reading ability of population at large. You know, the average reading age here in the UK is 9 years old. Yeah. So what we've got to understand is that people with relatively low levels of literacy are now finding themselves being asked to take on technology in the workplace. It's really important that we at Microsoft take this responsibility seriously. Routine, discoverable accessibility is going to be a critical part of this. And the work that we're doing in the education sector here at Microsoft needs to transplant its way into the workplace. You know, today's students with reading challenges are going to be coming into the future first-line workforce. So back over to Jess to look through some of the routine literacy features available within the Firstline Worker product line.
Thank you so much, Hector. Like you mentioned, literacy plays a huge piece in the workforce, especially in the front line. So I'm going to show you some pieces of technology that we use and that I use to help with that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my Teams. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is on the mobile device. Instead of me, again, typing, I'm going to go ahead and dictate. Hey, Megan, when you get a chance, take a look at some of the edits that I made to that document. Let me know what you think. We can meet tomorrow if that works better for you, period. And like that, I saved time. And I also made sure that I felt confident in what I was sending to her. Again, someone with hidden disabilities, someone with maybe not a higher level of literacy capabilities, it's confidence. And that's key. Another piece I want to show you is in Word. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you, I'm going to open up my employee handbook. Huge document to read. Again, directly on my mobile device. I pulled up the employee handbook, one of those documents that it's super important to make sure that I'm understanding it fully. So I'm going to put my read aloud. So not only am I seeing it, but I'm also hearing it. So let me scroll down here to where I need to start. And I'm just going to put my cursor here. And I'm going to go to my review. And as soon as I press read aloud.
Welcome to Contoso. We're pleased and excited to have you on board. Contoso is a first among coffee drinkers.
So something very similar to what I showed you before in the desktop also is on my mobile device. Multiple ways of getting to the same place. Now, something else that I really enjoy using, and it's called Smart Lookup. Have you ever been reading a document, reading a sign, reading a magazine, reading in general? You may not know the word. So instead of trying to pull up a website or try to find that dictionary in the other room, you have Smart Lookup directly in your device. So let me give you an example. So let's just say that I'm not too familiar with what this word is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hover. I'm going to highlight this word right here. So as you can see, this is a word that I may not be familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to my review and I'm going to put Smart Lookup. Smart Lookup not only will show you the word, you can also hear the word being said.
Discretion.
So not only do I see the word, I know how to pronounce the word. So now I can really understand what the word is when I read the definition. Back to you, Hector.
Fantastic, Jessica. What you see there is increased confidence. When people have access to the information, you build confidence. No longer are they relying on other people to find the information. You just heighten that discoverability of critical workplace info. It's amazing. Another part of the inclusion journey is language. 22% of the US population speak a language other than English at home. And yet when they come to work, they're expected to just fit right in straight away. 8% of the American population speak English less than very well, in inverted commas. When we think about this, maybe we've been able to ignore this up till now and accept that people work within their own groups of nationalities within the at-scale workforce, but no longer. People need access to information in their language. And what's great is the work that we're doing on AI here at Microsoft is really leading to really quality translation now. We've got to re-engage with these tools now and build confidence amongst people who don't speak first language in the workforce to start relying on digital tools to help them with these languages. And of course, here at Microsoft, we know that it's not just English, Spanish, French, German. A multitude of different languages are now out there in the workplace. So back over to Jessica to explore some of the things that are routinely available to you.
Thank you so much, Hector. Working for such a global company, not only do I have to communicate with people in my own language, but I also work with people who don't speak my language, but that's not a problem. So I'm going to give you an example. So over here in my chat, my administrator is trying to get me set up to use all my devices, but he speaks Hindi. Not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just hold down the Hindi words and it's going to translate into what I have enabled, so English. So now he feels comfortable talking to me in his language and I have the capability of translating it so I understand him. Easy, simple. I also can turn it back to see the original. Another thing that we run into is, especially Firstline, is having people come up to you, you walk into a store, they may not speak the language that you speak. What do? Do you look for somebody in your store that speaks that language? Do you look for somebody who's on the manufacturing line with you that speaks that language? Why not just use technology? So here I have pulled up is Microsoft Translator. So I'm going to go ahead and press on my microphone button. Now, automatically at the bottom, it has saved what I had already previously put in. Again, your device knows you, keeps your settings, it's customized to fit your needs. So I'm going to adjust it. I have it set for me speaking English, but the person needs to hear it in Spanish. Here's where the magic really happens. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit split. As you can see, at the bottom is English and at the top is Spanish. But here's the really cool part. I'm going to press this little arrow with a circle, and it actually flips it so that the person who needs to see it can. I'm going to show you what it looks like and what it sounds like too. Welcome to Microsoft. What brings you in?
Bienvenido a Microsoft. ¿Qué te trae por aquí?
And now we can have a full conversation without anybody feeling uncomfortable. As we continue to learn and as companies are changing policies or adding new features, new programs, things come down through Stream. Now, what I'm going to show you is that you have the ability to have closed captions on in a Stream video. This feature is also available on your mobile device. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to head over to Stream. Now, this is on my watch list. It's about the whole hands meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on it.
To address all of you, our valued employees.
So I want you to pay attention to two things. One, I want you to see that closed captions is on and it's actually enabled in another language other than what the video is being spoken in. So you have the capability of choosing a language that works best for you.
Without you, Contoso would not continue to flourish. And each of you is a critical part.
Just one of the other amazing pieces of technology that we have that can leverage and really empower every Firstline worker. Thank you so much. Back to you, Hector.
Thanks so much, Jessica. Great demo. I'll see you soon. So hopefully what you've seen here is that the Firstline workforce is diverse. We're not just talking about disability, although that's a passion, critical to the work that we're doing at Microsoft. This is literacy and this is language. If not dealt with correctly, these will lead to exclusion from the workplace, let alone the inclusion that drives diversity and inclusion and results within your industries. Take action today on this topic. Go back to our first slides and think about the inclusive post-COVID recovery. Together, we can build new workplaces. People have got used to the technology, but now is the time to really invest in getting the knowledge out there of the best way that people can personalize that experience for themselves, be it through disability, be it through access to text, through reading and writing, or be it through the languages that people have commonplace within the Firstline workforce. Really dig in. We have so many resources available for you to be able to access, not just on Firstline Worker, but also more widely across the disability subject here at Microsoft. We also have an enterprise disability answer desk that's available to all of you to access globally. you will reach our experts on disability inclusion and the technology that people use, and they'll be able to support you there and then in the workplace. If you want to learn more, we have lots of links available to you. And the other thing I would say to you is that you can take a badge in accessibility. It's a passion that's close to my heart. What we really want you to do is kind of learn about how different people use technology, to learn the skills, and publish the fact that you've taken this qualification through LinkedIn, through Twitter, through social media. Get the word out there, take this on and pay it forward, that together we can build a digitally inclusive workplace of the future. Thank you so much.